Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. Are you an innie or an outie? We're going to find out what's going on. We're going to pause right now. Okay, good. We're good. So, my guest today, Miss Daniella Daguerre, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Bob?
So you are our newest community library services manager. You're here at Maine Library.
Yes.
So tell everybody, what in the world does that actually mean? What does that do?
What that means, basically, I oversee operations of our adult services program, our youth services program, computer center, creation station business, just making sure that all the services are running smoothly, and the circulation department, um, uh, overseeing staffing and things like that, and making sure that all our services are available to our customers.
And it's just such a small little 8-story building for you to deal with.
I know. I know. But it's
It's,
so lovely. It just so just at night when you see the lights on, you just see all the
yes,
balcony and all the foliage.
it's a darn pretty building.
Yes, it
When
is.
when you're in downtown, and I get up on the city parking garage every once in a while and take pictures from over on the top deck over there of the building because it especially at night, it looks really pretty sometimes.
Yeah.
It is. We got something that maybe or may not be so pretty for you. Here's our first story. So are you an innie or an outie, Danielle?
Amy.
Okay, so I am too. And so our lead story, because there's a couple of stories today that are kind of wacky and weird, and I've thought, you know what? How much weirder could we possibly get? So let's do belly button lint. Yeah, I know. I was surprised how many studies there actually are on this. And our lead person who did this one right here, George Steinhauser from the Vienna University in Austria. He's done 2 different studies, the last one covering 3 years worth of research on what goes into someone's belly button, not only his own, but other people, which I just thought was
Mhm.
503 pieces he's collected over the years from that. And it turns out that most of it is not your actual shirts or anything like that.
Mhm.
Have you noticed this kind of thing when you're cleaning, when you're taking a shower,
No,
when you're cleaning?
no, because I always make sure everything is
You're all
clean.
nice and cleaned up
And
and
that is the suggestion, make sure everything is cleaned.
yeah.
But one
That's
of my
exactly what
colleagues,
his study his final in the findings is. If you don't want it, just clean. Take a shower.
right.
It'll go away.
And one of my colleagues, he actually shared when I told him about this article,
Yeah.
said that there's people that make belly button art. They do belly button crafts. I mean, belly button lint crafts. So they use the lint to create crafts.
Wow.
He was about to tell me, and I said, I think that's enough. I'm
Yeah.
good. The fact that this exists is more
Yeah,
than enough for me. Yeah.
that's crazy. Wow. I've heard of like dryer lint art where they
Oh,
take the
really?
yeah, you take the lint out of your dryer and the various colors and they mat it down like wool and they make it into various things. I've
Huh.
heard of that. I never heard of belly button garbage
No,
lint. Yeah,
no.
no, just
Can you
no.
imagine how long you'd have to be collecting that?
I cannot.
That's
Wow.
insane.
That is a crazy. Man, oh man, oh man. Wow. Okay. So just as a quick wrap up on this one, now that you got my mind blown on that, it's really why are we talking about this on this show? Because it turns out there's a mathematical model for whether you're an innie or an outie and how your various oils and skin and various hair follicles all collect where and how much. And it's kind of weirdly interesting, but yeah, I never thought of it as art.
I know. That's like the extreme of someone who has a clutter problem.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
hoarder
yeah,
of belly
that's
button lint.
extreme hoarding. Yeah, 100%. Yes, yes. That is. Man, I thought the next story was the crazy one we were going to be doing, and you brought us a really cool one. So I'm not sure how many people outside of the tech world have heard of Worldcoin. Worldcoin is another cryptocurrency out there, like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, like the various ones, mainstream ones that people have heard. There's two reasons why tech people talk about this. One, it is founded by the same person who created and founded OpenAI, who does ChatGPT. We'll talk about them in a little bit too. And they have, as this picture shows here, the orb. And so you have to be able to use their currency, you have to show up at a location. There's like 5 or 6 of them around the planet right now. And you have to look into the orb so they can scan your iris so they can prove you're human. Now,
so the thumbprint doesn't work anymore.
Well, see, that's the exact same thing most people think about. When they first hear this idea, they're like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of an interesting way of doing security. It's not security. The only reason you do this is to prove you're a human so they can give you an account so that they don't get bots making all these fake accounts to try and scam people out of their currency by having one person in charge of 100 different bots controlling all these different fake wallets out there. So it looks like all these people are trading coins when really it's just one person trading amongst himself. So that was their idea, that we're going to use this to prove you're human and do this. It didn't go so well, or it's not going so well right now.
Right.
One of the reasons why is because they tried to launch in the global south. Brazil, Kenya are the two big ones. And they kind of messed up because they didn't plan properly for who's going to use this. To convince people, hey, take this crazy idea of stare into my orb, the big silver orb, so I can track your retina to prove you're human. I'm going to give you 25 coins, which is about $5 US, roughly at the time the article was published earlier this week. So total coins, you're going to get about $50 worth. And that's it. You sign up, they're going to give you some free money to get you onto their network and get some people using their coins. And that's what they were thinking of doing.
Okay. I have several things. Several things. Okay. So what if the person winds up having an eye accident and they invest in all that? How do they even
never use your eye again. It has zero to do with
the account.
Once you open the account, once you prove you're a human and you open the account, that's it. Done.
What other possibilities could you be able to use that biodata in the future?
Well, there you go. That's a thing. They say Worldcoin, the company behind this, says they delete all that. They never save anything. They just use it to verify you're a person and not a bot, and then they delete the data. Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that, the people fell for this and now they're having a problem getting the money.
Yeah.
Because now they're being scammed.
100%.
But let me just play devil's advocate a little bit. Are they really being scammed? Because they were given the money. And now in order to get the money, they have to pay a certain percentage to get some of that money back. So are they really being scammed though, if you think about it?
I know that's why this is such a weird story. Not only are they giving away free money to people who then can't get the money out because they don't have other crypto transactions in the country to be able to do stuff with. So other people were stealing their coins. And then because people were stealing their coins, quote unquote, valid merchants were popping up saying, oh, I'll buy your coins off of you for like, let's get an actual number for you here. So they would offer them between $1.40 and $1.75 per coin against the actual price, which was $1.95. So these people would sit near where they were scanning their irises, and then like, here, I'll take those coins they just gave you off your hand, and I'll give you 80% of their value. Somebody's making money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really hard to figure out who.
But then if Worldcoin is giving away this money, how do they even make money? Because if these people are not investing, they're not
making it up out of the air.
investing in
Yeah,
it.
they're not investing. They're just making it up out of thin air.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is why people don't trust crypto.
Yeah, because it's Crisco. It's
Uh-huh.
slippery.
Yeah, it's very slippery. Oh man, that's right. You're so good at this. Our next one is a little slippery too. So the Internet Archive, if you're not familiar with, Internet Archive is along the same lines. It's a nonprofit organization, kind of like Wikimedia, that maintains Wikipedia in all of its languages. Internet Archive tries to archive as much of the internet as possible, and one of their side things that they also do is archive information in other forms. So not just web pages and websites and all the other things, but books and music. Now, they're not trying to be a music streamer, but the music industry does not like them anyway right now. So the Internet Archive is being sued for just under $400 million for the fact that they are archiving 78 speed records.
Okay.
You remember what 78s are?
Are they like the thin ones or the regular vinyl?
That's a really good point. They're the thin ones before vinyl.
So the little flimsy ones that would
No. They're hard like things. Not the little flimsy ones like that. Those actually came later.
Okay.
But so these are. Let me get a. Do they have the picture of it there? No, they don't. But I've got a picture here of the partial label on a record.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are the larger ones that look like a regular LP, long play, as was where that came from. But these are prior to vinyl. So this is a much more brittle substance, acrylic type substance. And so they are deteriorating. They need to be archived and saved. So the Internet Archive has got machines, and they're doing these, and they're being relatively careful about only taking things that are supposedly out of copyright. They're in the public domain.
Okay.
But that's where the record companies are saying, no, we've changed copyright law. Those are now in copyright again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, but are the record companies archiving these?
No.
Are they doing the work?
No, they're not.
So instead of suing, why not pay
someone to actually do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
or buy the digitized copies from, Internet Archive or something.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that their arguments are, is that they're losing money on this because they could be streaming this, and and they're claiming that Internet Archive is stealing their profits because Internet Archive is streaming the music out. They're not.
But they're not streaming it.
They're not streaming it. There's no way to stream this music off of them. They've been pretty careful on that side of things. All you can do is go to Internet Archive, look up a song. For example, this one right here that I've got here is New Thanks for the Memory. And it is from 1938. So it's not like it's going to show up on Spotify anytime soon. And the only way to find it is to go in and do some research and find this song. And then there's a little player that's on that one webpage that you can play just that one song. And that's it. So this is really for people who are doing research, people who are actively reading, looking for these sorts of things. That being said, copyright law is a mess. And the record companies are saying the Internet Archive is taking money away from the rights holders from making money. And the way they cloak it, the way they put it in some pretty nice clothing is, look at all these old people, so many black artists of the blues era before anything, they were paid, here, we'll give you $5 and now we own your song for the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the record companies are going back and giving those families any money.
Right.
But they're saying, no, you're denying them a chance to make money on these things because you've archived them and put them up on the internet for free.
But the writer made a great point that he will go and find these titles and find songs that he's never heard and then go back to Spotify or whatnot and buy the record. So in a sense, it helps them make money because it allows someone a new platform to discover something than to go buy and to go back and buy something that they like.
Yeah, just like libraries.
Right.
People come to libraries all the time, find a really cool author book, and then they go out and buy the whole series because they want the series at home.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like you can even come to the library to stream these sorts of things or get these things because we don't have access to these because we never had 78 players or anything like that to even be able to archive them here. So although we do have a memory lab out at the Weston Library for anyone in South Florida. Contact them if you've got VHS and things you want to archive yourself.
It's a case of cutting, your nose off to spite your
face. It seems like you could make a really good, interesting alliance here.
Right.
To say, look, we want these archives, we want these things, but we don't want you just giving it away for free to the public to compete with our streaming service. So let's find this happy medium. Hopefully the judge will do, because they're going through this. They're wrapping up a case right now with publishers on books, which was a lot dicier for the Internet Archive to do because they archive the books, but then they let people check them out as a digital copy, which all the publishing rights is you can only check out one copy of the book if you only own one copy. And Internet Archive was letting hundreds or thousands of people check out the same copy of a book. So they're on much weaker ground on the book side of things.
Right.
But you would think that on the music side they should be able to make a deal, except these are record companies, and how many people have they tried to put out of business over the years?
Many, several, and they have.
Yeah. And speaking of going out of business, ChatGPT. I know. If you're out there listening to this and you're like, wait, Bob, that just came out. How could they possibly go out of business? It's the number one thing in the world right now. Well, here's the problem. Are you paying for ChatGPT? Remember the old saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product? Well, in this case, since there's no advertising for ChatGPT to shove in your face, they can't make any money off of you that way either. So they have been depending on either big donor investors like Microsoft, who is their largest investor at billions of dollars, to help them stay afloat, or the individual subscribers who pay X amount of dollars a month to subscribe to ChatGPT and get the better features. Do you subscribe to any AI large language model stuff at all?
Okay, I'm going to be petty. I'm upset about the fact that it's available now. When I needed it to write my 32-page paper during grad school so that I could avoid the 11:59 deadline, that would be helpful to me.
Yeah.
It sounds great. I love it. I love the fact that, technology is moving forward, but the fact that I didn't get a chance to participate, I don't know. I feel some type of way. I feel cheated. Yeah,
it's pretty useful. I mean, there's a lot of ideas out there for using them, but it's expensive to run because you're running something over the internet. You're running something that millions of people are using.
Right.
And so they are spending roughly $700,000 a day just on electricity, infrastructure costs.
And staffing, I would think,
Yeah.
You still need humans to aggregate, some of that stuff.
Yeah. And that doesn't even count building the servers, like going out and buying the actual server that it runs on. This is just the everyday costs. So the current guesstimate is 36 cents every time you type in one of those queries, one of those prompts in the ChatGPT. You're costing OpenAI has a cost of 36 cents every time you do something. So they may be running out of money, and they may actually go bankrupt and or effectively keep an eye on this space, because losing 200,000 users in just June and July. So yeah, large language models and AI are here to stay, but maybe not in the current form.
Well,
First movers.
Facebook was started like that too. Remember, they weren't
Yep.
going to do ads, they weren't going to do all that, and they realized they needed money, so they did that. So I feel that's gonna, if they think of it fast enough or figure it out fast enough, it'll probably go along the same lines.
Meta already has theirs out, and theirs is free. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything. It's open source, so people can try out whatever they want. Yeah. OpenAI was the first one to make the big splash, and now everybody else is either catching up or figuring out other alternatives. So,
look, IBM rethought themselves. Look, so
yeah, I mean, Microsoft uses OpenAI for theirs. Google has their own. Apple has their own. So weird that Facebook's going to be the one with the open system. It's just craziness. It is craziness. But like you said, this is what we do. We connect people and we do stuff. And you mentioned as we were getting started, I'm going to go bring up this webpage for you here, that we've got some stuff going on at Main Library, including the Directors Book Club that's happening here in September.
And we're also going to have an author talk in September as well. So go to, Broward County Library or browardlibrary.org.
/events.
And /events. And you can also, on the main page, you can look through the magazine and see all of the events and programs that all of our 36 branches are carrying on to interact and engage in the community.
Yeah, we've got a lot going down. If you haven't been down to Main Library lately, you need to come on down.
Yeah.
The place is really pretty right now. The moon rock is still here, folks. The only moon rock in a public library anywhere on the planet. Come see it.
Exactly.
That's what we're here for. Thank you, Miss Danielle, for being here with us. Let me throw up our final slide here. If there is a library or librarian you'd like to see featured on the show one week, reach out. CreationStation@broward.org. And we'll see everybody next week.